Okay, so I'm going to show you the process of UV mapping this character. So this character is all one piece apart from the hair and the shoes. So all this part of the mesh is going to be in one UV map. I'm going to take it into Photoshop. I've added separate materials for now, just so I can see which bit's which, and it'll help me with selecting the areas I want to UV map. So let's open up the UV editor to start with. You can pin this to the side if you want, but I quite like to have it loose as well. It comes in two separate bits, so maybe just have them side by side. Or to make it a bit neater, I could just go to the UV editing workspace. And it pins it all up, like so. So let's click on here. So I've previously done a few little bits and bobs on it already, but let me take you through it to start with. So to start with, maybe we could just do a quick, what we call an automatic map. And what this does, sometimes it works just fine, you know. It adds everything kind of unwrapped from all these different angles and places them into the UV square. So if I just click on it, like right click and click shell, you can see the different parts of the head and the body. So I'm just going to start with the body, I think that's probably the easiest. I'm just going to shift select. You can either select them in here or you can select them in the main workspace as well. So let's just, you can see they're just kind of divided up into what we call shells from when the automatic map was made. So I go through and select them all like that. But the other thing, which is really a nice little tip, is you can select by material, because I've made a new material on each different part, so like the skin, shirt and pants. Ways to select the faces I want to UV map. For example, the vest here, the character. I've already applied a different material to it, and you can select faces by their material. So if I come up to the hypershade and just click this button here, opens it up, and I've named this light blue. So I'm just going to right click and hold, and you can go select objects with material. And there you go. So it's selected them objects. So I'll just close that for now, and then I'll open up my UV editor again. And what I can do here now is go create planar map, and we'll go with the Z axis, and let's project it. I'll just move it over to the side a second. Just as a tip, if you're in smooth mode, which is like smooth 3 mode on the keyboard, if you just change that to 1, things move a lot easier. You just got to remember to click back to 3 when you make the UV snapshot, which I'll explain later. So now we need to kind of unfold this out, and if I just go into edge mode here, I'm going to treat this as if it's like a proper piece of clothing. Now if you look on any t-shirt that you may be wearing at the moment, you'll notice you've probably got a seam down the side here, which is the area where you're least likely to see it, because your arm's quite often by its side covering it. And that's why they'll always put seams there for kind of clothing design. So we're going to do the same thing in case we're doing any kind of pattern texture and we have like a seam that doesn't quite join up. So I'm just going to find this middle edge here, double click it. I'm going to shift select and double click the other side. I've created a seam here, so I'm going to cut here. So I'm going to click create, and I'm going to come to cut and sew and click cut. If I click off that now, you'll notice there's a thicker white line which represents there's a seam, and there's quite a lot of seams over this model now, but you'll notice on the vest there's only a seam around the outline. So let's go and hit the shell, and then we'll go Control U or Command U to unfold it. The menu here is Modify Unfold, and you'll see the command there. And what we'll see here, we'll just scale it down, is the vest kind of unwrapped. We can just leave that as so, and the next thing we'll just do a bit of optimization. Sometimes you can just repeat this a few times. I'm pressing the G key to repeat the last button I pressed. It's another tip for you. So if I've gone to optimize there, modify optimize, and I press the G key, that'll repeat that action again. Just saves you a bit of time going in the menu. But that looks like it's nicely even and spread out. We can just click the checkerboard on to make sure, and you'll notice here, just click off that, how nice and evenly spaced out the checkers are on the one I've UV mapped there, because that's nicely flattened out now and spread out, whereas some of these ones are a bit kind of bunched up and not really connecting. There's no like kind of weird seams or stretching, apart from down here. You can see where the checkers don't quite match up, so that's telling me there's a seam there and it's not quite matching up. You may have to do things differently if you've got like a pattern texture you're going to be using, but this is going to be quite a blank plain colour for me, so it's not a big issue. So I'm going to repeat this action for all the different body parts until I've got some nice unwrapped bits of geometry. Okay, so the next bit I'm going to look at is the head. So let's just open the UV editor again. I've got it just closed at the side now. I'll just turn off the checkerboard just so I can see a bit better there. You might want to come in different views for this to select easier. Now I could just go through the shells again and select. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to go to face mode and just do a nice selection over all the head. And then you can just zoom in and make sure. I'll include the neck as well. Like so. In fact, I'm going to include the chest as well for this one. I'm going to hit the tab key here, and you can almost like paint your selection. Nice way of selecting stuff. Now I'll probably have to go on the perspective here as well, just to make sure I don't miss any. It's quite useful sometimes to turn the grayscale on. You can see a bit more clearly what you've selected. So I'm selecting everything here inside that seam. We know that's a seam, remember, because it's got a thick white line. So I'm just going to paint that. You don't have to do it all in one movement, you can repaint. Get all that inside seam there. There we go. And what I'll do is, just to make sure I've got it all together, just come over here and I'll create a planar map. I'll just check which axis I'm on. So I'm on Z, so it's going to hit the face straight on. Like Y would do it from the top, X would do it from the side, if that makes sense. So let's hit Z. And there's the original map, which looks quite funny at the minute. It's up to you what you want to do at this point as well. Like I could just go grab the legs while I'm on. I'll hit the G key because that will repeat the planar map. It'd be a nice way just to quickly get everything organised. I'm taking them out the box for now, but So I'm going to package it all back up in this one square here at the end. So let's just go into shell mode here. I've got all that there. Oops. Just try to hit the G key then. It's not my last action anymore, so it's worth pointing that out, remember. So that's mostly that. The arms look like they're pretty much done down. But the arms and the hands may be separate as well, so let's just... Well, this is a good one actually. This all comes with experience really, but I'm going to do it from above this time because I want to take the picture from above for the hand, so you can see that. I'm just scaling it down just to make the more rough shape of the arm there. I'll do the same on the other side. And you can see the more of these I do, the less I'm ending up with at the end here. So let's just find where that actually is. This is probably a little seam that I've missed. There it is underneath the shirt. So I think that needs to go back onto the shirt one. Unfortunately I've already done, but for now let's just pop that there. I'll show you how to stitch them on in a second. And finally, I've just missed a tiny bit there as well. So that can go over with the head collar. Easily done this. Go like one of the arms done. So which one is that one? I imagine that's just for the other side as well. Same thing, yeah. So I'll just pop that there, and then finally, what do we have? This is probably the shorts, yeah. So I'll put them there. So the easiest thing to do probably is just do another map. You can stitch them together, but while we're at this stage, I may as well just... There's a bit more work to do on the vest, but I don't mind just quickly doing that again. Okay, this is a good little starting point. We're at here. Oh, whoops! They need to be Y. Remember from above. Thought it looked a bit weird. There we go. So I've got all the separate pieces now that I want to work with. So it's basically we're going to have to just cut some seams and then do some unwrapping from now. So let's just show you how I'd do a leg, a very simple one to start with. Again, I'd take the inside seam. At this point actually I'm going to hit Control 1 just to isolate the mesh I'm working with. So there's no none of the other assets in the way. I'm just going to shift click and double click the seam there, and let's just add a cut. And then we'll just select the shell, so we've got the cut there now. And we'll click Command G, which is the Mac for unwrap. And let's flatten that leg out. Let's just quickly do the other side. Oops, I've tried to do the G key there, thinking again it's the same thing. Oh, I just need to select the shell. What have I done there? Let's have a look. I've undone the cut. Make sure we've got the cuts. There's a shortcut for cut, and it'll be Shift X, is it? Yeah. If you want to use shortcuts. Now remember shell mode there. Command U. Okay, so now I'm going into every different little piece here. So we've got to decide the seam for the pants now. Now we can either do that or we can do it from here. It's probably best just to double click the edge in the UV editor now. Get the side ones as well. So just check I've got the right ones here. Yep, spot on. And let's go Shift X for cut. Got the seam there. Shell mode. Unwrap. Now these are completely split down the middle now, so they've become two separate ones. And what we can do is we can save one seam by just selecting the edge of one of them and go move and sew. So cut and sew, move and sew, and that will stitch them together like that. Get a bit of overlap in here again, so we'll just do the unfold command, and that kind of spreads them out nicely. And just to make sure we can do the optimize, that just kind of spreads them out again how you would like them, and that's going to be nice to paint over in Photoshop if I need to. Next, I'm just going to click quick save actually, just in case we get a crash. And I guess we may as well just go in here and it's a quick easy one. Cut, shell, and fold. Okay. And let's just optimize that because that is kind of a bit funny this time. G. It's got a bit funny this time, that one. Maybe we could try just cutting them up and see if we can get them a bit neater actually. You. So what I've done there, I've just split them because they weren't quite doing what I wanted there. So join them back up. So so back. Yeah, well, looks like that's how it's going to be, that one. What you can do individually though, if you want to, is just put that back into place. A bit optimizing. Okay. Let's pick a seam. This one again. Slightly different. In fact, I'm going to take the hands off. So I could either do a cut. Let's just do a cut. Nice full loop. Shift X. Leave that to the side for now. Do it again. Shift X. Now with these I can select the loop. I'm going to come underneath, select my seams. I'm going to go for this one. So which one's on here? There we go. Like I said, it's best to select the edge and here, double click it, you just get the full edge, and then you can do Shift X to make the cut. Unwrap it. It's best to pick your seam, see which one you've selected, double click it, Shift X, UV, unwrap. Obviously we can optimize as well. Just on the hands could get a bit trickier because it's not always like the perfect seam, especially with the fingers and stuff, but I just roughly do them. Especially when there's no obvious one, you know. I'll leave the hands till last. They are all going to be the same colour for me. There's going to be one colour material, so I don't need to worry about them too much. Okay, I'm going to do a different operation again for the head actually. And this time, you might need to do the ears separate as well actually, because they're a little different. But for now, let's try it. So I'm going to do what we call a cylindrical map. So I'm going to come down to create, instead of plane, I'm going to go cylindrical. What that does, it wraps around the head. This is what you do for a more realistic character mainly as well. And then straight away you do it unfold. It's actually a pretty good job that, because it's actually unfolds the ears as well. We have got a bit of stuff going on here. I just need to do this stitching here, so let's there we go. This is just the neck going round. Don't worry. Now the problem I've got here is when I was modelling I didn't complete these edges. So I could just complete them now actually. Have a quick save. This is where having good topology is quite essential. In fact, I'll leave that there first. It's not going to be an issue really. It's going to be quite hidden as well. It's got the deep eye sockets there, that's going to be nice and easy to paint. And let's just fix that as well. So let's just sew that together. And that one, we'll leave that there. We'll optimize, and this is probably a pretty good UV map now for what we need. Optimize a bit more. Alright, this is going to be good enough. Nice little intro to UV mapping really. I'm going to select all these now, and you can apply any principles that I've done here to any model. The final function I'm going to show you is the layout UVs. So let's go here. So Command L if you need the shortcut. What that does, it packs it in this box, so it makes everything as big as it can. Whilst fitting it in this box to a relatively decent scale. Just going to move a few things around. Because these are exactly the same, you could actually lay these two on top of each other if you wanted to, like this, and kind of flip it around. Then you only have to paint it once, but like I said, I'm just going to be painting it the same colour anyway. Same with them. So I kind of want the most resolution. So remember, this is the resolution it's going to be. Got some design I want to put on the t-shirt as well. So I'm just going to shift these down. Shift this over. I'm going to rotate that around there, but it's not the best idea because when I'm painting, I'll have to rotate my canvas in Photoshop and I can bring them down. They're just going to be one colour, I'll scale them down. Great. Okay, so the final thing I need to do is just come to object mode, select it, make sure I've hit 3 now because I want it to be a smooth wireframe. I just noticed that's peeking off there actually. Just double check that. Notice how it gets slower when you're in smooth 3 mode. Okie doke. And then we're going to hit this camera icon here. So we're going to export and almost take a picture of this area. I'll just reset it to default. And these two need to be the same. So it's going to be a perfect square. I've already set my project so it's looking straight at the images folder. Just click browse. I'll give it a name. UV map. I'm going to go .png, so it's got a alpha channel transparency. So I want to be able to see through my wireframe. Click OK. And that's fine. I put add before as 2000 by 2000, but normally you want a decent resolution. You can go up to 4K if you really want to. I'll just change this to PNG again. And let's click apply. So now that's saved it in my images folder. So I'll go over to my images folder. Just remember where I put it. This is for a project I'm working on at the minute. There it is. And I can just right click and open with. Okay, now I'm in Photoshop. I've got my wireframe in here. If you can't really see it that well at first, but if you actually zoom in, you see all the detail there. So let's just make sure the image size is as big as we can get. Let's go to image size, sorry. Just change that to 300 DPI. Should we get a nice crisp pixel edge? If you get up close to your character as well, you want to make sure the image size is as good as it can be. So you can start by just making a new layer. You want to rename the first one actually to wireframe. And that was always going to be on top because you want to know where you're painting, you see. So let's just plot some really rough things on. Now I want to make sure I get the colours. So I've got a bit of reference here actually. I'm going off. This one here. So if I just use my eyedropper, We might have to bring it in actually. So let's just copy. Oops, wrong guy. This is kind of a reference I've gone for between these two characters here. Let's just copy that, paste it in. Mainly just so I've got the colour palette I want. So let's just grab that t-shirt colour. And stick my paintbrush. Now this can be as rough as you want really. I'm no Photoshop expert, I'm actually using a mouse right now as well, so. The wireframe underneath. I think one of the issues here is I picked my wireframe. I'll use a harder edge. With the wireframe black, white in Maya when I should have picked black. Or a different colour that stands out a bit more. Let's make sure I've got all that on there. Then let's pick the other colour so I could name that t-shirt. What I would do is I would just, you reference out the way, I'd just make one of each layer. So this one's skin, pick the one I wanted. It's kind of tricky without the mouse. Just with the mouse, sorry. Just paint over the ones that I'm going to just do skin with. Basically just putting down a base colour. So I'm just going to hide that so I can get the pants colour. Pants. Zoom in. I always jump so much. And that'll do for now. So I've just blocked out the colours, so that's going to look pretty similar to what I've already got in Maya. So let's save this as a JPEG, so save as. And it's already going there, but I'm going to put this in my source images, so good texture. And I'm going to use it. You can do JPEG or PNG, but we're no alpha channel on this, so it's fine. So save that. Save as maximum. Oops, I've just actually saved a wireframe, so you want to turn the wireframe off. Try to save again. What was it? Oh, source images, gid. Make sure it's JPEG and just save over it. Replace, yeah. Oops. So let's go back to Maya. Turn my textures on again. Now, because Now you could apply it to the whole mesh, but I've got different materials. So, for example, the skin is going to be a different material to the shirt. Like the skin may be a bit shinier than the shirt, so I've still got them on. We're just going to apply the UV map to all the materials separately. So I'll just shut that for now. So this is the skin one. I should have renamed this one to skin. I'm just going to delete the history as well while I'm on. Oops. Let's just reapply that to skin. Oops. Okay, so let's hit the color one. File. See, it's changed the color there just for that layer. Hit the kid texture. Go, and then I'm going to do that for each one now. So that was the skin one. Light blue was the t-shirt. So let's file kid texture. So it'll be the same color map, but slightly different material. Which just look really good. There we go. Just turn everything back on. Looks like I've missed a bit there, doesn't it? That kind of shows stuff up and a bit of spill there, but you can see no seams down the side under the arms because it's all the same. So I can fix that a bit later, but I'm going to apply a logo onto this. So let's just turn this back on so I can see better. Now, where did I save the logo? So I've got logos. I'm going for the white logo. Pull that in. Scale it down. Put this in the middle of the t-shirt there, and I can turn the wireframe off. So let's just save that. Source images, JPEG again. Look tedious that. We should just remember. So I've made some changes there now. Back to Maya. Sometimes it just automatically does it if you click on and off the mesh, but then others will need to go to light blue. Let's reload it. There's the logo. Which is cool. So that's how you apply some textures, and then I could maybe go and add some shading and stuff, or maybe a bit of a pattern, and display some map, stuff like that. So I'll do a little render test just to have a look. We'll just take a second to convert the textures into a .text file, which the render engine Arnold understands better. There we go. So you see I've got the same texture applied to all the different parts, but I've got a nice shiny skin where I've got a bit of all of a matte t-shirt and pants. Which is looking pretty cool.